What could possibly make a sunny, clear morning turn into a day of darkness and despair? Imagine, if you will, the early hours of September 11th, 2001. A typical Tuesday morning with the hustle and bustle of life in full swing. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee wafting through the air, the melodic chirping of birds signalling the break of dawn, and the harmonized chaos of city life painting a picture of normalcy. Across the vast skies of the United States, airplanes took off, their metal bodies glinting under the radiant morning sun. Among these were 4 particular flights: American Airlines Flight 11, United Airlines Flight 175, American Airlines Flight 77, and United Airlines Flight 93. Each plane filled with passengers, their minds preoccupied with thoughts of business meetings, holiday adventures, or joyful family reunions. These flights took off as any other, the passengers and crew oblivious to the malevolent plot that was about to unfold. The flight attendants went about their duties, serving breakfast and coffee with warm smiles, and the pilots navigated the aircrafts through the clear morning skies. The hum of the engines provided a comforting rhythm, lulling the unsuspecting passengers into a sense of security. Meanwhile, on the ground, people went about their morning routines, blissfully unaware of the impending catastrophe. They strolled through the streets, entered their offices, or dropped their kids at school. Little did they know that their world was about to change forever. In the midst of this normalcy, the clock ticked on, each second bringing us closer to an event that would shake the world to its core. An event that would redefine our understanding of terror and security. An event that would mark a stark before and after in the annals of human history. Little did anyone know that these flights would soon become instruments of destruction. Who were the people behind this unthinkable act of terror? Behind the tragic events of September 11th were 19 militants, all associated with the extremist group known as Al-Qaeda. This group, notorious for its acts of terrorism, was led by a man named Osama bin Laden. Bin Laden, in the years leading up to the attacks, nurtured a view of America that can only be described as naive. He saw the United States as a paper tiger, a phrase used to describe something or someone that appears powerful, but is in reality weak or ineffectual. His perspective was shaped not only by recent history, but also by events dating back to the 1970s. One such event was the American withdrawal from Vietnam, a long and bloody conflict that ended with the US pulling out its forces. Then, in the 1980s, a bombing in Beirut led to the deaths of 241 American servicemen and the subsequent withdrawal of American forces from Lebanon. In the 1990s, the deaths of 18 US servicemen in Mogadishu led to another American pullout, this time from Somalia. These events, viewed through bin Laden's lens, painted a picture of an America that was unable, or unwilling, to endure hardship or withstand attack. He believed that the US was much weaker than some of those around him thought. As evidence, he pointed to these instances of American withdrawal following attacks. An associate of bin Laden, Abu Walid al-Masri, remembered bin Laden's conviction in this belief of America as a weak adversary. According to al-Masri, bin Laden became increasingly convinced of this in the years prior to the September 11th attacks. But history, as we know, is a complex tapestry, woven from countless threads of events, decisions, and consequences. Bin Laden's view was but a single distorted thread in this vast tapestry. His beliefs, misguided as they were, set the stage for a plot that would soon unfold with devastating consequences. Bin Laden's misguided beliefs fueled a plot that would soon unfold. How did one of the deadliest terrorist attacks on American soil unfold? On that fateful day, 4 commercial airliners were hijacked by 19 militants associated with the Islamic extremist group Al-Qaeda. 2 of these planes, American Airlines Flight 11 and United Airlines Flight 175, departed from Boston, aiming for Los Angeles. However, they never reached their intended destination. Instead, they were steered off course and directed towards the North and South Towers of the World Trade Center in New York City. One by one, these colossal symbols of American financial prowess were struck, erupting into flames and eventually collapsing, leaving a trail of destruction and a cloud of disbelief in their wake. Simultaneously, a third plane, American Airlines Flight 77, took off from Washington, D.C., also bound for Los Angeles. This aircraft, however, was diverted towards the Pentagon, the headquarters of the United States Department of Defense. The impact of this crash caused a portion of the iconic five-sided building to collapse, resulting in further loss of life and amplifying the shockwaves of terror reverberating across the nation. The fourth and final plane, United Airlines Flight 93, left New Jersey for San Francisco. However, unlike the others, this aircraft never reached its intended target. In a remarkable display of courage and defiance, the passengers on board attempted to retake control of the plane from the hijackers. Their heroic efforts resulted in the plane crashing into a field in Pennsylvania, sparing further destruction and loss of life at the terrorists' intended target. Each plane, each life lost, each fragment of rubble was a chilling testament to a meticulously planned attack, designed not just to destroy infrastructure, but to shatter the sense of security and invulnerability that had long been associated with the United States. In a matter of hours, the world watched in horror as the symbols of American power crumbled. What were the repercussions of this unprecedented act of terror? The immediate aftermath of the attacks was a scene of devastation and chaos. Buildings once reaching for the heavens were now reduced to rubble, and the air was filled with a thick cloud of dust and ash. In New York City, the damage was immense. The Twin Towers, once gleaming symbols of American prosperity, were now a tragic reminder of the lives lost. The death toll in New York alone amounted to approximately 2,750 innocent lives. These were people who woke up that morning unaware that they were living their last moments. The Pentagon, a symbol of American defense, wasn't spared either. It too bore the brunt of this horrifying act, resulting in the loss of 184 lives. The loss was not just in numbers. Each life represented a story, a family, dreams and aspirations that were abruptly extinguished. In the quiet landscapes of Pennsylvania, 40 brave souls met their end when United Airlines Flight 93 crashed into a field. These individuals, in an act of courage, attempted to retake control of the plane from the hijackers, preventing further destruction but tragically losing their own lives in the process. The New York police and fire departments were particularly hard hit. More than 400 police officers and firefighters rushed to the scene of the attacks, ready to risk their lives to save others. Many of these brave individuals did not make it back, their heroic acts forever etched in our memories. In total, all 19 terrorists involved in the hijackings met their end. However, their death was a small consolation compared to the vast sea of grief and loss left in their wake. The aftermath of the September 11th attacks was a time of mourning, of coming to terms with the magnitude of the loss, and of resolving to stand strong in the face of terror. The attacks left a deep scar on the face of America and the world. This scar serves as a painful reminder of the lives lost, the heroes born, and the resolve of a nation that refused to be broken by terror. How did America respond to this act of terror on its own soil? This question echoed across the globe in the aftermath of the September 11th attacks. The answer came swiftly and firmly. The United States, in an enormous effort, marshaled its resources to combat terrorism, both at home and abroad. The attacks were a wake-up call to the vulnerability of the world's superpower. This realization led to a comprehensive overhaul of American security measures, with a particular focus on aviation security. The Transportation Security Administration, or TSA, was established as a response to these attacks, introducing rigorous screening procedures at airports across the nation. But the response was not limited to Homeland Security. The United States also launched an international campaign against terrorism, marking a significant shift in the nation's foreign policy. The objective was clear: to dismantle the terrorist networks that had orchestrated the attacks and ensure such a tragedy could never happen again. The American military, as part of this campaign, invaded Afghanistan, the base of the Al-Qaeda terrorist group. This marked the beginning of the war on terror, a conflict that would span across several countries and last for more than a decade. However, the response was not just military. There was also a diplomatic aspect to it. The United States worked closely with its allies, strengthening international relations and fostering cooperation in intelligence sharing and law enforcement. These alliances were instrumental in tracking down and neutralizing threats, underscoring the global nature of the fight against terrorism. The September 11th attacks also led to a shift in public consciousness. The threat of terrorism became a daily reality, influencing the way people lived and traveled. Yet, amidst this fear, there was also a surge of patriotism and solidarity. Across the nation, communities came together, united in their grief and determination to overcome. In the face of adversity, America stood resilient, turning a day of despair into a symbol of unity and strength. This resilience, this unity, became the defining response to the September 11th attacks, a testament to the indomitable spirit of the American people.